I'm Kristina, and I'm an alcoholic. And I'm a panicked alcoholic. I don't like being up here. Will you guys pray with me? God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Thank you. It's hard for me to be up here. I had 4 years, and I went out. I have 28 days of sobriety now, and the first week was a huge struggle. It was a huge struggle. I opened Pandora's box, and it was really fucking ugly, you know? I mean, I sat in this room, and I was holding onto my chair, and I was shaking, and I was freaked the fuck out because I didn't know if I could stay sober. You know, I had a year before, and my father died, and the man that I was with left. I threw him out, really. And packed his stuff, threw him out, and then I lost my job, and I lost a baby, and you know, what happened to me was that I lost faith, you know, because my God was only in the good stuff, you know, because I went through the steps, and they had me write an image of God, and my image of God was in everything that was good. So when all this bad stuff happened to me, I had no God. I had nothing, and I had pain, and I had misery, and I wasn't in this program, you know. I wasn't in this program at all. I was bullshitting my way through this program. You know, pretending to be the happy little AA. I'd be up at this podium, and I had people out there crying, and I was lying. I was lying to each and every one of you. And about myself, most of all. You know, it was me most of all. And I went out on my birthday week, too. Talk about humbling. That was really, really humbling. You know, when they call for cakes, and I want to stand up and say me. But no, I was a newcomer. I had to stand up as a newcomer. So it's really hard for me to stand up here because tonight I have to be honest with you. Tonight I can't bullshit you. Tonight I have to tell you the truth. And it's new for me. It's really new for me. Born and raised in Venice and Mar Vista area, and came from a dysfunctional family, blah, blah, blah. My dad was an alcoholic. I was born with severe club foot, and I had surgeries and casts on my feet when I was little. So I learned early on how to manipulate, and I learned early on that I needed a lot of attention. You know, I needed an awful lot of attention. And, but I didn't realize that till I did my inventory this time around. I did 4 inventories before this, but I didn't get honest. You know, like it says when you read chapter 5, it says rigorous honesty, you know, and when you can't be honest with yourself and you can't get through those steps, you know, half measures availed me a cocktail. That's what half measures availed me. And so, anyway, back to the blah, blah. I started drinking when I was a teenager, and I drank alcoholically from the get. You know, I never drank for the taste. I never drank for anything other than the effect. It was the magic elixir for me. It removed all my fears. It made me good enough. You know, and I was that big egomaniac, you know what I mean? I was the life of the party, and everybody loved me, and blah, 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 blah. And I was always center stage, but I never felt like I was center stage. I was outside looking in. I was never a part of that, even though I was officially a part of it. But I never felt like it. I always felt alone. You know, I could be in a room full of people, and I was alone. I was always alone and lonely, and just miserable and confused, you know? And alcohol was it. It was it. You know, it hit the spot. I had no fears, and you know, it just did it for me. It did it for me. And I proceeded to do an awful lot of drugs from then on out. When do I stop? 8 o'clock? Okay. I proceeded to do an awful lot of drugs, and I just, you know, I was just a mess. I was a mess. Anyway, just some highlights of the story. I was raped. I was beaten. I was transporting cocaine. I was, you know, I was doing all the crazy shit, you know, and I remember I always had the little plan, you know, everything was going to be okay. I had the little out. I was set. And towards the end of my career, the first time, before I had the 4 years, I got into the business, and I was a call girl. I went and met this girlfriend of mine, and she was doing it. She was making tons of money, man, and I was working 2 jobs, and I was a full-blown alcoholic. Do you know what it's like to have 2 jobs and be a full-blown alcoholic? Fuck. And, you know, it was a bitch. And I went out and I saw her, and she made like $600 in 45 minutes, and I was like, oh, well, okay. And I went and I talked to my therapist, and, you know, and he said, you know, Kristina, there's nothing you like more than sex. He said, why not get paid? I said, oh, okay. And I was off and running, you know, I was fucking at the races. And it was the perfect job for the alcoholic. You know, I worked minimal, and they came to my house, and they brought wine, and the dope man brought everything else, and then there was Pink Dot when you didn't have whatever you needed. And, you know, and But in the end, I was stuck in my house, and I wouldn't come out, and the blinds were closed, because I knew if I walked out of those doors, you would know. You would know what was wrong with me, you know? And I was sick. In the end, I was drinking a half a gallon of vodka a day, and I was in the DTs every day. I was shaking and throwing up. And a good day was if I brushed my teeth. You know, I brushed my teeth. I'm all right today. It's all right. And I was just sick. And I remember towards the end, I got attacked, too. I had these guys come over and pose as clients, and I'd been up for 3 days. But I knew in the morning I was going to be sick. I knew I was going to be sick because I was in the DTs. So it was against my better judgment, but I worked, of course, because the alcohol, you know, it was the alcohol that I needed. And that whole, and, you know, and it was just like the whole effect of the craving, you know. When I had that first drink, I couldn't stop. There was no stopping it. You couldn't stop it. Nobody could stop it. I don't give a fuck how big you were. You couldn't stop me from drinking. And I needed it, and I had to have it. And these guys came and posed as clients, and next thing I know, and I was so out of it. God, I was so out of it. And next thing I know was there was a knock at the door, and there's this guy standing there. And he says, "Is Bill here?" And I said, "There's no one named Bill here." And the guy that's in the house pretending to be the client comes up and puts his arm around my neck. Now, I'm so fucked up. I think he's just horny. He's trying to pull me back in the house, right? No, hello, the guy's got his arm around your neck. And next thing I know, I looked at that guy's eyes, and I knew. And I said, "You motherfuckers are trying to hurt me." And then a 9mm went to my head, and the guy grabbed my feet, and he tried to pull me in my house. And I prayed. I prayed right then. I said, "God, I'm not ready to die. I'm not ready to die. Please, not yet, not yet." And I don't know how, but somehow they dropped me on the ground, and they ran off. And my brain on drugs and alcohol said to me, you know, you got to quit doing speed. It keeps you up for 3 days. You better start smoking crack, you know. Then everything's going to be okay. It wasn't, you know, what's going on in your life. So fast forwarding, soon thereafter I got sober. I was sick. I was sick and tired, and I didn't have it in me anymore, you know. I didn't have another run. I didn't have the ability to get up and to get out there and to do what it took to do it anymore. And I was so empty. I was just spiritually and physically and emotionally empty and lonely and sad and fucking tired and beaten down. And that pitiful and incomprehensible demoralization, I'm telling you, I've experienced every last fucking ounce of it, you know? No dignity, no sense of self, nothing. I was empty. And I decided to get sober, but I didn't get sober here. I thought, okay, I'll do it on my own. So next thing I know, and I kicked in my house, and next thing I know, this client comes by, and I'm telling him, you know, I'm not drinking, and blah, 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 blah. And he goes, well, you know, I'm a member of this group. And I said, oh, really? And he said, yeah. He said, oh, no, that's not true. That's not true. See, I lie. Anyway, he came and he left, and the pager went off again, and I called him back, and he came back to my house because it was God. And I knew when the pager went off and he said, I didn't call you. I knew then, I said, this is God. I said, I need your help. Come and help me. Because he told me he was a member of a group. It turns out he was a member of the, doesn't matter. Anyway, doesn't matter. And so he came to my house and we poured out all the alcohol, and I was like, well, why do we have to do that? You know, my clients might want a cocktail, God, and fuck, and we put all the weed in and everything, you know, and we got rid of it all, and he gave me a big book, and he said, you need a sponsor, and he said, and read the 3rd step prayer every morning and every night. And I said, all right, I can do that, I can do that. And I worked, when I was working those 2 jobs, I worked at this place, and there were sober people there, you know, and that was a bitch, being a practicing alcoholic with sober people. And, ew. And, so, because, you know, they knew, you know what I mean? They knew, and it was so ugly. And so Sue came to help me, and that was Vicky's friend. And when I was out there, mind you, though, I got to tell you that my friend stabbed and paralyzed her husband. And I was there, and it was believed that I did it. And I told Sue that I didn't, and she believed me. I was just there. And but that's the power of the program, you know. Sue came when I needed help. I said I need a sponsor, and she came and got me and took me to my first meeting. And I met Vicky. She was the first person I met in Alcoholics Anonymous. Thank God for Vicky. Thank God for Vicky. And so I proceeded to do AA, you know. I was broken, beaten, and battered. And I proceeded to do AA. And the first year I was on my pink cloud. I came floating in, and I walked through these doors right there, and I was home. I had that sense of home, of everything that I've been longing for and searching for in the bottle and in men and in, you know, women and everything. I searched. Let me tell you, I searched. And, you know, fuck. And I found it here, and I felt at home, and I felt at peace, you know. And I went through the steps to the best of my ability. As a matter of fact, I did them 4 times in my 4 years, you know. But it was to the best of my ability, which was not cutting it. It was half measures is what it was. And after I fell off of my pink cloud, I was fucked. Okay, I was fucked. I had nothing, you know. I didn't have anything because I was bullshitting, you know. I didn't make friends. I didn't lean into this program. There were so many people here that loved and cared for me, and a lot of them are here right now, and I'm so grateful that you guys came. You know, they came to support me, and that's a blessing. And you know what's a real blessing was that I was able to ask this time, because I couldn't ask for help before. You know, I didn't know how. Where I came from, it was weak. You were weak if you you were weak to cry. You didn't cry. You know, I was out in the streets, man. You get killed for shit like that, you know, and I know now that that's bullshit, you know. Only in surrender do you find peace, you know, and only in asking do you receive. You know, they're here. They wouldn't have been here if I wouldn't have asked. They would have known. Who would have known, you know? And I didn't ask. And I fell off of my pink cloud, and I got pregnant, and, oh, man, I fell hard off my pink cloud. And then I tried doing the steps again. I thought, okay, it's in the steps. I've got to do the steps again. But I was picking sponsors that were unavailable, you know, and I picked them. I chose that way to go because I didn't want to do this deal. Because the truth of the matter was that I hated AA. I hated every last one of you. You ruined my drinking. You know, you were fucked, man. Ew. And, you know, and it was just like, I hated it. I hated AA. I hated it. I hated being an alcoholic. And I remember people would say to drink is to die, right? And I used to think, oh, yeah, I'm going to have a cocktail and I'm going to implode, right? You know what I mean? I was like, sure, that's what's going to happen. But you know what? I tell you, after going out, I know to drink is to die. When it says that alcohol is cunning, baffling, and powerful, I know now that alcohol is cunning, baffling, and powerful. My disease is stronger than it's ever been. My disease had me by my balls, you know? I mean, I'm telling you, it was not pretty, you know? And, so then I just kept floating through. Then I decided, okay, I'll do it the Denver group way, you know, and I tried Coda, and I tried Al-Anon, and I tried spiritual books, you know, still searching, and all the answers were right here in the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. But, you know, that was on the shelf. And it was because I wasn't being honest. I wasn't being honest with myself, you know, and then I got drunk. Thank God I got drunk, you know. I needed that relief. I needed to do that. And I drank for 14 hours straight, and I had the dope man at my house, and I was drinking and driving, and I woke up the next day doing the same thing in a day. I spent one day out there, and that's where I was. Imagine me a week down the line. I know now to drink is to die, you know. This disease is not a joke, you know. This disease is serious, and it's out to kill us. And I know that now, and I didn't know that before, you know. And I'm grateful now to be an alcoholic. I can stand before you now and tell you that that's the honest to God's truth from the bottom of my heart. I just read my 5th step on Friday, and I have the best sponsor in the world. You know, I want everything she has. She's an incredible lady. And she's the only one that knew that I was going to get loaded. And I didn't even know. And you know, that 4th step is so powerful. If you do it in the right way, if you really get honest and you pray on it and you open your heart and your mind, I can't even tell you what I found out. I mean, I found things I didn't even know I was writing. And I would look at it and go, oh my God, I think that? I didn't even know. I was so delusional, and I've lied to myself and everyone else for so long that I didn't even know. And I found beliefs in me. You know, I believed that I wasn't lovable. I believed that no one would love me, you know. And then I believed that love was, you had to be a chameleon. You had to be what they wanted you to be, or they're not going to love you, you know, because I wasn't good enough. And so I did that all my life, and then God forbid you fell in love with me, you know. God forbid, because you fell in love with the bullshit that I thought you wanted. So you were fucked, you know, coming for your ass. And I was cruel and evil and a liar, a cheat, and a thief. I've heard that how many times? I used to think, oh yeah, liar, cheat, and thief, big deal. No, I was a liar, a cheat, and a thief. I lied to every one of you. I'm sure I owe a big, huge amends. I'm not on step 9 yet, but... you know, and it's just, it's so truly powerful. I mean, you know, and God's grace and honesty. And I came in this time around mad at God, you know. I didn't know how I was going to make it through this deal. I didn't know, because I didn't have, you know, fuck God. That's exactly where I was, fuck God. And when I finished my 5th step, I reconnected to God. I went home and I sat, like it says in the big book, for an hour, and I sat there and I was talking to God, and I realized how blessed I was, you know, to be able to talk to God. And that was thanks to my sponsor. You know, that's a gift. I didn't know it was a gift. And I laid there, and I felt free, and it was incredible. And it was just, all the stuff got lifted. All that stuff that I carried around for so long, that stuff that made me get drunk, that stuff that made me feel less than, and I'm not perfect, and I'm not healed, and I'm not well yet, you know, but I'm working, and I'm going to keep working until I get it right, you know. And thank God for these rooms, because without these rooms, who has the steps? You know, who has any of this? Who has people that they can call all the fucking time? And la 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 la, and you know, and they decipher it and they pull you back down to earth, you know, because we share a bond that I don't have anywhere else, you know. I was running to everything that wasn't real and running from everything that was, and everything that's real is right here, you know, because you guys all understand me. Everything that I've shared tonight, I'm sure on some level everybody's understood. Man, woman, child, doesn't matter. You know, but normies don't get it. You know what I'm saying? And I was talking to practicing alcoholics. That's where I was. Oh yeah, they're getting it. They don't want to hear a fucking thing I'm saying, you know? And I am from the bottom of my heart, and you know, I'm so blessed because I'm alive, you know? Because I got to go back out there and I got to find out what really is going on. And it's not shit out there. And what was really going on was that I had to open up and be honest, and I had to get real, and I had to heal. And the only way to do that is here. And I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for everybody that came and for everybody that's here and for God and for AA. Thank you.